Hello friends, this is Miss Jamie. I'm here with a virtual program called I Can Help. I'm going to be providing you with a recipe that requires very little parental supervision, so kids can do it all by themselves. This month's I Can Help recipe is going to be inspired by November, which is Native American History Month. I'm going to read an excerpt out of the book where I got the recipe from. The book is called Native North American Food and Recipes, and you can rent it at the Blue Island Public Library, as you can rent all the books that I do all my virtual programming with. Native people lived in North America for thousands of years before Europeans arrived in the 1400s. Hundreds of thousands of Native American people lived throughout North America. They belong to many nations. A nation is a group of people who share languages, beliefs, and customs. Different nations lived in different regions of North America. Anthropologists now divide North America into 10 regions. You can see those regions right here. I'll move it so you can see it a little better. The regions are shown on the map below. They are the Arctic, the subarctic, the plateau, that little yellow guy, the northwest coast, which is this little orange slit right here, the Great Basin, which is right there, the Great Plains, the southwest down here, the southeast over here, and finally the northeast right here. Looks like that's where we would be considered, the northeast. That's not usual for us. We're usually used to associating ourselves with the plains, but apparently not according to this map. The Native Americans that would have lived here would have been considered northeastern nation. Very interesting. Let's read this part too. It says, territories. Each nation had its own territory or area of land in which its people lived, hunted, and gathered food. Some nations were made up of thousands of people, whereas others had fewer than 1,000 members. The people of most nations lived in towns or villages, but they also traveled from place to place within their territories to find food. Some nations did not live in permanent locations, but continually moved from place to place. And if you didn't know, people who don't live in a permanent place and are continually moving are known as nomadic. I'm pretty sure. All right, let's move on to this next page. I'm going to move it a little bit so you can see slightly better. There we go. Foods from nature. The people of all nations valued their territories and the natural resources these lands contained. Everything the people needed for their survival came from the land and water in their territories. Each territory contained a variety of plants and animals. The people of most nations hunted, fished, and gathered plant foods from the forests, grasslands, lakes, and rivers. Nations that lived in deserts relied on desert plants and animals. Nations that lived near oceans hunted seals and other ocean mammals, and caught many kinds of fish and gathered shellfish. Working together. Hunting, fishing, and gathering foods took a lot of time and effort. Native people knew where to find the resources they needed. They moved throughout their territories, which are over here, if you remember that map, to find the animals and plant foods on which they relied. Hunters or gatherers often worked together to find enough food for their people. People sometimes worked together in small family groups to collect food and other resources. At other times, large groups of people gathered together to collect resources. Large gatherings were times for people to socialize and celebrate with one another. People worked together to prepare the foods they ate. Each nation prepared fish and other foods in slightly different ways. We can see that here. People working together to create food. Respecting nature. The people of all nations respected nature. Every day they offered thanks for the plants and animals on which they depended for their survival. They showed their gratitude with prayers, songs, dances, and ceremonies. Before and after hunting, native people thanked the spirits of the animals for giving up their lives. See, they're hunting, but they also thank the animals for their sacrifice because they know that every life has value. Little waste. Native people showed respect for nature by conserving or not wasting resources. Most native hunters killed only the animals that they needed in order to survive. Native people used all the parts of the animals they killed, even the parts they didn't eat. They made tools, weapons, shelters, and clothing from animal bones and animal hides or skins. So they tried to conserve, and that was how everybody lived their lives. It seems like in America we're trying to get back to a culture of conservation so we don't harm the earth instead of a culture of wastefulness where we throw everything away right away and make lots of plastic bottles and other things that pollute the earth. Let's read this. Food all year. Many foods were not available year-round. People used their resources very carefully to ensure that they had food for the entire year. They ate some of the food and saved the rest. This surplus or extra food was preserved so that it wouldn't spoil. People ate preserved foods when fresh foods were not available. Some preserved foods were traded with other nations for different foods and goods. People often traded items that were available to them for meat from animals that did not live in their territories. Nations also traded goods or foods in exchange for berries, nuts, and other plants that did not grow in their territory. So pretty much if they couldn't get something that they wanted from their territory, they would trade something that they could get for something that they wanted from another person in another territory who maybe wasn't able to get something that they were able to get. A valued crop. Corn was one of the most valued foods grown by Native American farmers. The people who lived in the southwest and southeast regions were the first people in North America to grow corn. Thousands of years ago, they acquired seeds and learned how to grow corn from their neighbors in the Valley of Mexico. Before long, nations living in the southwest and southeast regions began trading their corn seeds and crops with nations that lived in other regions of North America. Here we can see people husking corn, it looks like. Different kinds of corn. Yellow corn, white corn, blue corn, and red corn. There's all these different types. The southwest region is dry, and there are few rivers. Despite the dry weather, farmers in the southwest region developed varieties of corn that grew successfully there. They also developed irrigation systems, or ways of getting river water to the crops. Even if the river was far away, irrigation systems helped them, get water to places where they needed it to be. It's very advanced. Farmers in other regions also developed varieties of corn that suited their own lands and climates. As a result, farmers from different regions grew many different types of corn. Preparing corn. Women prepared and cooked corn in many ways. They added kernels of fresh corn to meat and vegetable stews in order to sweeten them. They also dried kernels of corn in the sun to preserve them. Dried kernels were often popped over a fire to make popcorn, or pounded into coarse flour. The flour, called cornmeal, was used to make breads. People also mixed cornmeal with beans and other vegetables to make pancakes and puddings. We can see down here some things that you can make out of cornmeal. In the Southwest region, corn was ground into flour and used to make flat, round tortillas. I love tortillas for tacos and quesadillas, things like that. Here's our recipe. All right, guys, now that we have a little bit of history from this book, Native North American Foods and Recipes by Bobby Coleman. Now we're gonna get into the recipe itself. Alright friends, now we are in my kitchen, so we can complete the second part of I Can Help, which is the recipe portion. Whoop whoop, everybody's favorite. So once again, the recipe is from this book, Native North American Foods and Recipes. I read it, obviously, I read it earlier. The first thing that you want to do every time you get cooking is make sure you are all ready, and that means washing your hands with soap and water, which I already did, making sure your hair is tied up out of the way. You can't tell that mine is tied up, but it actually is. So it doesn't get all dirty, and same thing with your clothes. You want to make sure your clothes are ones that you don't care about in case it gets all dirty. Alright, so then after you are all ready, you need to make sure your workspace is all ready. So I've got the pan out at least, and then what you're going to want to do, this is the pan that the balls are going to go on when we're all done with them. So we need to line the pan with wax paper or parchment paper, whatever you have will work, just so they don't stick to the pan and get totally messy. Right. Now that that's done, we got to prepare our ingredients. I'm going to pop one single bag of plain popcorn. I couldn't find plain, so I got home style, which just means light butter and light salt. It was the closest thing to plain that I could find. I didn't want to pop popcorn on the stove top because I thought that would be too challenging. Microwave is way easier, but if you would like, that's totally a viable option. However, this will work perfectly. Once it's popped, I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I'm going to start assembling the maple syrup and the butter. Once that's ready, we can get cooking. Alright guys, I'm super excited to do this. Let's get cracking. For my 1 cup of maple syrup, I'm just going to place my measuring cup on the tray so I don't make a mess if I spill, and slowly pour in 1 cup of syrup. This is just the syrup I use on my waffles and pancakes in the morning. So it's nothing special, but you can use whatever kind of syrup you like, as long as it's maple. Make sure you be nice and careful. There we go. 1 cup of maple syrup. No spills needed. Now that we have the ingredients for the glaze prepared, we bring out a pan, bring it to medium-high heat. So I usually do like 4. You can get your parents to help you with this part if you want. Then add the syrup, add the butter, and then stir, stir, stir till it thickens. Now it's already pretty thick, but you're going to want the butter to melt completely and form I don't know, a thickened different type of glaze. There we go. It says to stir constantly on medium to high heat. Constantly on medium to high heat. I guess I'm going to turn it up to 5. I feel like that's medium high. Alright, you guys can see that the butter is almost completely melted, and yeah, it's really starting to thicken up. You can see around the side that it's developing like a like a sheen almost, or like a residue. And it's starting to smell kind of like caramely almost. Honestly, it smells very caramely. So you want to be very careful not to let this burn, because I bet it's going to burn very easily. Oh yeah, and it's really starting to thicken up now. Yep, I can feel it being thicker with the spoon, definitely. But like I said, you do not want this to burn, so I'm going to reduce the heat just a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely thickened up. Yeah, this is it. This is what we want. So I'm removing the heat. Yeah, this is thick. Alright, this is thick, yeah. And then it says immediately remove it from heat and pour it over the popcorn mixture. So, here's the popcorn mixture. I'm gonna pour it over top. Oh yeah. Whoo, watch it react. That's crazy. Look at that. So now the next step is to let it cool for just a minute so you don't burn your hands on it. Yeah, it's definitely cool enough. So you want to make sure it's all, ooh, it's kind of hot at the bottom. Maybe wait just a little bit longer actually than a minute. But you want to do it while it's still wet. Otherwise it'll get all crunchy beforehand. And you want all of the popcorns to be totally saturated with the sticky stuff so they stay in a circle, in a ball. You want to be really sticky. Oh, it is super hot though. Oh, baby, that is hot, hot, hot. Alright, now that they've cooled down a bit, we are going to try to make some popcorn balls out of this. So pick it up, it's really sticky, and just sort of turn it into a ball like that. It doesn't want to stay. Alright. Let's try to get a bit more sticky on that this time. Place it on. Alright, that one's a bit better. Try to push it together without making it stick to your fingers so much. There we go, that's better. Last one, make some room for it. Get the seed out of there. Alright. Some good sloppy, sticky kernels. On there. Yep. Alright. Now, to top it off, I'm going to add a bit of salt. Directions don't say to do this, but I want to do it. And there we go. From this point, you just have to throw them in the fridge and they will be all set. Here we go. I already made out a little spot for them right here. Oh. You gotta slide it in so they can chill properly and harden so that when we pick them up, they won't fall apart.